Welcome to Through the Table Podcast with Brian, JL, Tom, Rick, and Russ.
That was actually on the Swerve Strickland podcast that he was on.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
There was a picture of him at one point that they show, and it's literally him just like, and he even said, he goes, take this picture of this. You could have picked the worst. He's like, you picked the worst picture.
He probably did it on purpose. I'm sure.
He's literally just like, look, his pupils dilated.
Did he say anything good? Usually he has a few bits that are like interesting.
I mean, really, it was just they talked a lot about like football and stuff because I guess Scott's a football fan and stuff like that. But just the.
Well, he went to college under scholarship somewhere down south. I don't know what school.
Oh, really?
And he busted up his knee and decided wrestling was the way to go.
But I mean, like I said, the stuff about the titles and the $1 million gates for Double or Nothing and Forbidden Door. Just a couple other things, but I mean, it was just kind of on in the background too, so I really wasn't paying attention much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a lot of it was like football and soccer and.
Oh yeah, right.
It was funny to see him at the draft
where they make the big money, and he's still wearing his AEW outfit.
Yeah, sitting there.
The Jaguar sweatshirt, the hair all out of place. I'm just looking around with that big grin on his face all the time.
That's why that meme I sent you guys was like, that cracked me up for half a day because I could legit see him talking to like, guys, I don't know what to do. We got some booking issues. Like, Tony, this is the Jaguars draft, dude.
He's got his notebook out, writing down matches between picks.
Tony, what do you think about this guy? I don't know. I don't know if we can do anything with him.
Hold on. Let me ask one of my colleagues. Tony, said draft him. He's good. Yeah. JR said it's good. Okay.
He played out of Oklahoma. He's fine.
Yeah, really.
That'd be hilarious, right? If literally it's JR and Tony Khan drafting people for the Jaguars.
JR should have been sitting next to him at the draft. That would have been great.
Explains the Jaguars' last couple of seasons.
Oh boy. Couldn't do much worse than they did.
No. It's good to have the number one pick 2 years in a row, though.
It's hard. It's hard.
Look at the Bengals. Bengals finally made a Super Bowl. You get a number one pick enough times, eventually you're going to be good.
If you pick the right people.
How did he miss that layup? Wow. Anyway.
So where we were just kind of talking about, AEW getting bigger crowds.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring up the question I put in the chat. So with, WWE doing all these, stadium shows just for random every month pay-per-views, why not just, maybe AEW should dip their toe in the water and try to run a stadium show. But what would you put for a main event? What do you think would fill a stadium?
So I love this idea. I absolutely love this concept. I don't think they're ready yet. I don't think they're there. I think they're about a year or two away from actually being able to really go for a stadium, unless it's a small one. There's that one. Isn't there that soccer one in Los Angeles that would be decent size for them? It's not a gigantic stadium. It's almost like one of the indoor places that they run.
Where the Chargers are playing. You're thinking, right? It was it's like maybe 28,000.
Yep.
Maybe 29. It's small.
Like, I don't think they're ready to go to like Gillette or to the MetLife or something.
Oh, no,
I mean,
no.
Arthur Ashe Stadium is what, 20
something, 24?
I would say it was like 24.
I'd have to double check what the attendance was on it. I don't recall. but it was in the 20s somewhere.
I would think, though, if they were to do that this year, I think you would have to have Punk go over in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whenever it is. And you would have to match him up with Danielson.
You're gonna think Danielson?
Yeah, I think Danielson. I think if you build that match up enough, and the reason is because your smart marks know both of them. Your true WWE fans will be curious of it because they're WWE guys. But also, too, wrestling fans in general will kind of mark out over that because it's not in a WWE ring where it's their style and their say. It's almost like a Ring of Honor. So people are going to be kind of intrigued by what they're going to do with the gloves off, no pun intended. So I think that's where you would go to main event, unless you can get like some big name part-time guy popping in somewhere.
So it's the reason I actually brought this up was because I actually think we might have said this on a podcast last year, if I'm not mistaken. And my answer was, and this is, it was before last August. And I just said, I'm like, if I think it would have to take CM Punk coming out of, I guess, quote unquote retirement and going up against Kenny Omega. And that's I said personally, I think that would be a match that could possibly fill a stadium.
Okay, I like that better.
And honestly, I do love Punk versus Danielson, but I just feel like where it's been done. I mean, granted, it's been done WWE, Ring of Honor and stuff like that. I definitely think at one point, that could easily be a main event of a stadium show. But I think for their first one, I think I feel like you'd have to go Punk in Omega. First time match.
I definitely agree with that. That's what I was thinking.
Because there's really not a lot of first time matches anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
unfortunately, for them really to fill it up, you're going to have to stack 5 big matches on the card. I don't think definitely. Just one match is going to sell it, unfortunately.
Right, but I think I definitely think that helps it.
Oh yeah, no, for certain. Yeah. That's where I was thinking.
But I also think too is you would have to treat it like a WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, they would.
So you'd have to do the whole week of, maybe do I know that was a Conrad Thompson thing, but the Star Cast.
I bet they would do it again.
Maybe you bring that back, or something like that. And
he was trying to do it for Double or Nothing, but he just didn't have enough time to get it all wrapped up quickly enough. I bet he does it for All Out.
Yeah, because he was doing it for a while, and then he just kind of stopped. I don't know if he lost
there was COVID and stuff.
Oh, that's true too.
He said there wouldn't be enough people to attend the early shows. He wanted to make sure that he could get a ton of people there, not just fans itself, but enough people on it.
Right
now, he feels more comfortable with it. But Double or Nothing it wasn't going to happen, even though he wanted to do it in Vegas.
Is there any doubt, by the way, that Punk goes over?
I don't think so.
He has to.
I think I'd say 90% chance Punk wins,
right?
Not 100.
95.
Oh, is it 95?
I'm back to 97.
97.
And I'm usually the other way around, and I'm going low this time. I don't mind Hangman being a heel in the angle, which I think works fine.
Yeah. Oh no.
Outside of the 1 week last week where that was just just because of MJF and Punk in Long Island, which was cool enough. Because they used to do that with Bret Hart in the U.S. and Canada. So.
Right.
By the way, Punk didn't time the the buckshot Larry.
Oh no.
Silver wasn't close enough to him.
Nope.
He had to he flipped himself over.
He jumped up on the top too quick.
Yeah, and he was like, crap. And he had to lunge forward to get to him.
Yep.
There was a couple of botch spots in that match. I thought it was a good match, but there were a couple. There was one towards the end where Punk had to go into the corner Silver
Yeah.
was up at the top, but Silver lost his footing.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Punk's standing there awkwardly for
And then
about
they went
20
and he
seconds.
popped him back up into it.
Right.
Yeah.
He should have
Yeah.
popped him in the back.
Mhm.
Silver could have hit him with a back
Right.
elbow.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
go back into it again. Try
Right.
it another time.
Yeah, they should have, exactly. But those things happen when you're live.
Absolutely.
We're live, pal.
But what stadium would you run at as your first stadium show then? Like, as you said, would you do a mid-size or a big stadium? I know Tom said the San Diego. What do you think, Rick?
See, I don't know.
Or the one in LA, whatever wherever it exactly is.
I mean, I feel like so the one in LA, right? What'd you say it was like 28,000?
28 to like 30 something, probably floor seats.
I
You'd probably
think
get a couple thousand on the floor, I would think.
Right. I think like a 30,000 seat arena would probably be a good, like, first time. You know what I mean? Like what was WWE's first like stadium show? I mean,
they did a ton though, way back when in the 80s that
were
never.
I mean, there's like Wembley and stuff.
Well, if you think of WrestleMania 3, the Silverdome was over 100.
Right.
Wembley is over 100 too, and they went out there for one of those SummerSlams for that. I'm thinking what their first one was. They did Shea Stadium in the 70s, and that was, what was Shea, like around 30 or so?
Shea was in the 40s.
Okay, so
Shea was stupidly big for no reason.
40,000. I don't know how many they drew, if they drew a sold out show or not. That I couldn't tell you, but they did do the Shea in the 70s.
I'm just trying, like, what was was it WrestleMania 19? They did Safeco Field.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, it was Austin's last one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was his last one. Yeah, that's probably like 30s, 40s. All the floor seats probably in the 40s. The smaller, it's not a huge baseball stadium, but still, it's pretty big.
I'm just trying to think. Yeah, just something. I think like 30,000 would be a good number.
They should probably try to get Wrigley, because that's not a massive, huge baseball stadium.
I thought about Wrigley just because I
because
feel
it would piss Russ off too in Chicago.
That was literally reason number one. But reason number two, I feel like that's like I mean, there really hasn't been that many wrestling events at Wrigley Field, if I'm that I know of.
I know one stadium would be fun to watch from would be Fenway.
Oh, Fenway would be awesome
because you have the wall and you can make that where the entrance is.
Yeah,
and Darby Allin could jump off it at some point.
Oh, for sure,
kill himself.
I mean, yeah, it'd be a long way for them to go out, but whatever. You've got the doors on the side there; they could easily come out. I just don't think a football stadium is doable for them right now.
No,
baseball stadiums, I think they could pull it off because you could block off a certain number of seats.
I think you might actually be better with like a college type stadium, though. If they're going to do a football stadium, maybe a college football stadium.
Sure.
I think that's where you're going to live. I hate wrestling shows in baseball stadiums.
No, I hear you.
Unless it's like a dome, like Safeco, you can close the roof.
Yeah.
You can make the seats work. But if you're doing a stadium for the first time, come on, we've seen the old footage of like World Class or something doing a baseball stadium. Think of like those early 80s baseball stadium shows.
It was like 4 people in the crowd.
Oh, they were doing the Cotton Bowl, which is like 85,000. That was way too big for them.
You had like a few thousand around the ring and nobody in the stands, and it just looked empty.
Yeah.
You don't want to do it. Baseball stadiums can look empty when it comes to stuff like that. Football stadiums, on the other hand, the field's shorter. You can make it work better. Set up
and
a camera.
If you go to a smaller stadium too, not like where Alabama plays, where it's like 95,000, but if you were with like a Tulane place, I think it's like 22,000 or something like that.
Right.
And it would look bigger. It would look huge because it's open. Yeah, it's open though, but still, just with how it's set up, you can make it look huge, and it's not a ton of people there.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that would make more sense.
I know Tony Khan had said at one point he wanted to do like what they did back in the 80s and NWA, like a Great American Bash tour and do a bunch of outdoor stadiums down the road during the summer, like he's saying like 6 or 7 years from now. Like that would be a goal of his, is to do a full summer tour outside with all sorts of crazy matches and stuff.
Scaffold matches every night.
Yep.
Well, he's a maniac when it comes to those type of matches. So, but he loves the old history of those things. He was talking about that one day on some podcast.
I like the idea of the stadium. I wish that the Forbidden Door show would have been in a stadium, and I thought it was going to be. I was convinced it was going to be.
They were trying to get it done, but probably just didn't work out.
Yeah.
And the United Center is big, and they just said that's easy enough. We'll do that.
Going there. That will make Russ happy.
How many?
It's big. It's probably 25,000.
Aren't they already up to like 24,000 tickets sold for that?
They just opened up that last upper deck balcony section behind the stage.
Yeah.
So I think when it comes down to it, because they closed off the lower section there behind the stage, it's going to be just over 20.
Like
when they did the Punk show, it was like 16.5 they had it set up for.
I don't want to, because he's not on, but the hell is JL talking about that day when he was like, oh, I guess they're going to have a hard time selling. And like 2 days later, the tickets go on sale and they're almost sold out instantly.
Yeah, the last time they went to Wintrust, they didn't sell it out, but they had run like 2 months beforehand in Chicago.
Yeah.
Like that last Dynamite they did was like real quick turnaround.
Well,
I think they learned from that.
They were in Chicago all the time. So of course, eventually they're not going to sell out. I got to go drive somewhere.
And then I guess their second most popular place is now Massachusetts, since this is going to be their fourth show coming up.
Yeah. But it works because you're turning thousands of people away at the door.
Mm-hmm. Well, you had to. If you're turning that many people away.
Yeah. 100%. You got to go to a bigger place. The other thing too about, Boston, I know he jokingly said it's their second favorite, but it's going to be up there because the crowd was just so hot.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the best crowds that they've had. And
I bet next year they have a pay-per-view.
Oh, 100% probably will. It won't be at the Garden.
No. You don't have to be at the Garden. It's okay.
Can you imagine if they run Fenway?
That'd be crazy.
Imagine if they run Fenway. Do a summer pay-per-view at Fenway.
They could do one of those Fight for the Fallen or whatever their other show was there they do in the summertime.
Yeah.
Fenway Group, they'll let them run. They love money.
They sure do. They don't seem to be liking spending it lately either.
No. How many concerts are there now? Like 25 a year? So, I mean, easily AEW could get in there easy, no problem whatsoever.
I'm still seeing commercials for Paul McCartney. I thought he already played there, but apparently he's got like 20 shows coming up in June.
He's got 4 or 5 shows in a row there. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then there's a whole bunch in September and October.
There's like the annual Pearl Jam concert.
But they used to do like 1 show a year. Now it's like 20.
Motley Crue has added 2 shows.
Jimmy Buffett.
Oh, the annual Jimmy Buffett show. That's
he moved from Great Woods there because Fenway paid him more to do it.
Yep. But he'll still do one at Great Woods.
Because it's on the way out.
Yeah.
A matinee the following afternoon. I mean, how hard it is. He does the same songs for like the last 50 years.
They're all pretty terrible.
I don't even know, but he's around because there's people with parrots all over the place.
Changing in attitudes and latitudes. Ew.
I got super hammered off of frozen margaritas at his restaurant when I was like 21 in Florida.
Oh, nice.
I was super hammered.
There are people who just follow him around and literally will go show to show. And
were they called parrot heads or something?
Parrot heads. Yep. Oh,
parrot
yeah.
Heads. Mm-hmm.
Parrot heads. God bless them.
There we go. That'll be in the little insert. Rick's a parrot head.
Parrot head.
Part 2. Rick's a parrot head. Or Rick is a parrot head?
Question mark?
Rick?
I have Kevin Nash for you.
He probably really does, locked in his basement. Took out his knees.
So
no.
have you been following that Kota Ibushi stuff?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's some
I don't know what's going on. I know he did some independent show, and now that's coming back to like kill him because he didn't get permission for it. And he's like, I've got all this stuff I can expose. And
that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. He's like lost his mind or something.
Who touched him?
I don't.
Kenny Omega did.
Apparently, it's not him, but it's others that work with him that he doesn't like.
Honestly, I was wondering, there was that whole thing where, he has a contract for life. He's a lifer now or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, then he won the title and then
got hurt,
like lost it the next day.
Yep.
And then just got hurt. And then they just use him like crap. I mean, he's been hurt a lot, but
well, I guess they were trying to force him back for Wrestle Kingdom. And he's like, I'm not even cleared for it. They're trying to force him into the show.
That's nuts.
Speaking about being forced to do something, let's talk about his allegations.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
Well, one of them's Taka Michinoku, where he's got arrested for sexual assault when he ran Kaientai. And then
trying to choppy people's peepees.
Taichi has been known to sleep around a lot.
So Kota Ibushi's saying this stuff?
Yeah.
So that's even kind of crazy that like the fact that he's
well, he's not referring to them in name, but he's saying these predators and stuff.
He's outing Taka, but that's the indie show that he went to. Was
exactly.
So it's like, hey, thanks for your money, but you're a pedophile or whatever.
Well, I know the one guy that he was talking to was Kikuchi there. That was the one he was sending most of the texts with, and I guess they hate each other.
Yeah, he's like what, basically like the Johnny Ace, like the head of talent relations.
Yeah,
or
like Gato tells him to go talk to people, and that's his job now. Mm-hmm. And him and Ibushi have never got along because I guess he was in DDT doing stuff like that, and that's why he left for New Japan because he didn't want to deal with them. And now he was back having to deal with them again. That didn't help at all. He's like, well, I guess you're going to fire me now. It's like, what? I don't know. It was like he was drinking and texting without thinking. But now he's responding to fans that are talking to him and telling him exactly what he's talking about now. So I think he wants to get let go.
I mean, they have been treating him like crap.
Mm-hmm.
Just even.
But that's a fine line if, say, he's trying to get to AEW and they have this big deal with New Japan now. That's very difficult if they want to bring him in.
Right.
Well,
unless you just don't use him for anything related to Japan anymore.
Yeah, but we've also seen Tony Khan kind of distance himself from people who have certain issues.
Right. I mean, this wouldn't be like tomorrow. You might have to let it blow away for a year before you bring him in or something. Because you know how people's attention spans are nowadays. Within a year, they'll forget who he is.
I would say Ric Flair should be showing up in AEW then pretty soon.
He keeps talking to him, saying he's got one more run on his podcast like every week.
What run does he have?
And he's like, TK, give me a call. You know my number. I don't know. He's got one more run left in him.
Like, for what? Is he going to work?
Yeah, he wants to. Mm-hmm.
He's tapped.
That's why he did that training video with Lethal there and put it out to show he can still bump and take and do it.
He almost died like 3 years ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He almost died in that video a few times. He wasn't getting up very fast. Like, Jesus Christ. That was just a back bump.
Was it Kirk Roberts level or are we still,
Oh, no. He's still past there.
Okay.
He did not fall on his ass and then slowly down.
He really did take a long time to get down.